Okay, so I've dewinterized the RV's water lines, and I'm gonna book out of here as quick as I can. I have just enough light to make it to Mesquite, I think. So this is gonna be fun. So I finally am leaving St. George. I've been in St. George for the past week and a half or so. And if you watched my last video, I did some exploring around sort of the southern Utah area here, which is really awesome. And I actually didn't stay in St. George as long as I thought I would, because I really wanted to get down into somewhat warmer weather. And there were a couple of things that I had planned on doing today. I had to do a fix on my scooter, and this is one of the things that I wanted to get done. Before I had left central Utah, I had the scooter dealership that I bought it from do some servicing on it to make sure it was running mechanically well. But one of the body panels on the side has been coming loose, and when I would sit on it, it was getting compressed, and I really wanted to do a fix to that. So I went to Lowe's, just looked for some things that I could do to sort of shore that up. And one of them was, I got this clear Gorilla Tape and then some glue. I looked at, they've got all kinds of glues, and who knows what's the right one. Well, I think this is what I'm gonna get. There are all these glues, and it's kind of daunting to figure out which of them is the right one for the job, but I'm gonna try this one. Yay, this is what I'm gonna try. Fix my scooter. But I picked one that I think has worked fairly well in the long term. So what I've done for right now as a temporary fix until I sort of figure out something even better is working. Ah, dang it, come on, stay up there. It's never going to fit exactly, but the Gorilla Tape, I'm going to put Gorilla Tape across here and across the back to help stabilize that. I know that's not easy to see, but it's clear. Well, we're going to have to see how this works out. My ghetto tape job that I've got going on here, and I put some tape over here. So it's the next morning, and I've driven the scooter around. It actually rained last night too. It said it's waterproof. The tape's supposed to be waterproof and the glue's waterproof, but it did hold this together, because when I would get on it before, this would just come apart, and this whole thing was just really loose. So it's more solid than it was before. So I actually do think that the glue is doing more good than I initially thought it was going to. This is where, when I sit on the scooter, this pops out. There's pressure on here and it pops this out. So I've got to do some sort of work to figure out how to further stabilize this. But in general, what I've done with the tape and the glue has in fact stabilized it. This tape right here has kept this from pulling away. So that was one thing that I needed to get done today. The other thing was that I needed to dewinterize the RV before I left. So when I got back to Utah 2 months or so ago, it got cold really quickly, and it was dropping down below freezing rapidly. And so I had to winterize the RV, and I had to live in the RV for the time period. And that's a bit of a pain, because you don't have access to the water lines. I had to pump RV antifreeze into the water lines and into the fresh water tank, so I couldn't use that. So I had devised just sort of this sort of simple but a little bit clunky water system that I've been able to use well enough. So one of the nice things about finally having my water lines dewinterized is I can get rid of my ad hoc water system that I had going here, which was a real pain in the butt. But it allowed me to just fill this thing up with water and use it So this is awesome. I reclaim all of this space right here now that the RV is dewinterized. I was finally able to dewinterize the RV, and one of the nice things about coming back to a place that you know is you know what services are there. It turns out that there's this great RV dealership right here that has a free dump station. And so I was able to use that dump station to flush out the antifreeze from the water lines. And they had water there, so I started pumping fresh water in. At the same time, I had all the pump going and the tap going, and I was flushing out all of the pink antifreeze. And I got it to where the water was finally clear. I'm putting fresh water in, and I'm starting to pump, and then I'm going to drain all the antifreeze out. So the water is slowly becoming less pink as I'm pumping water in. At the same time, I had the gray tank open, and so the water was flushing out of that. And so I just had the system going where I was flushing everything out. And so it's nice. It's nice that I have access to that again. Las Vegas is going to be warm enough that I'm not going to have to worry about it dipping below freezing at night. I probably could have done it here when I first got to St. George, but even St. George has been dropping down into the high 20s at night. That made me a little bit nervous. And I've done it before. You can do that in an RV as long as during the day it's getting well above freezing. You can tolerate some freezing weather by making sure your water lines just aren't pressurized. But when it's dropping into the low 20s and into the teens, you just can't do that because the water lines would freeze, and you risk the water pump freezing, and you don't want that to happen. So that was the other thing that I had planned to do, was to make sure I dewinterized the RV. But of course I got to it too late in the day after I had run errands and taken care of stuff and gotten the RV itself ready. I had to put the scooter up on the back. I've gotten really good at quickly getting that scooter onto the back hitch and getting it on there and done. Right after that, I took off and I got down to the RV place and got the RV dewinterized. Fortunately, there was no one there using the station, and I was able to use it all by myself. I almost didn't go because literally the sun was setting. I decided to risk it because Mesquite's only 35 miles away. And it turns out it was a spectacular sunset. It was a really pretty sunset, and the drive was really pretty on the way here. And I got here just to the Walmart in Mesquite just as it was really pretty dark. And so the good thing is I've been to this Walmart a couple of times, and they're RV friendly for a night. There are a few other RVs here, and I think it'll be quiet. And then tomorrow I'll head down to Las Vegas. So anyway, thanks for watching.